Good morning, everybody. Nice to see a full hall at this time of the morning on Sunday. Uh, I'll start with a quick round of introductions. Uh, it's it's not like detailed introductions. It's just a quick round of introductions because I think most of you know them all quite well. I'll start with Ranavir because two reasons. One, he's the only guy on the panel. Secondly, as you all know, I have a partiality to cinematographers. So we start with Ranavir, who's a long time associate of Payal. They both studied at the Film Institute. Ranabir is a cinematographer. He has shot other films that I have seen apart from Payal's films, which I like very much. The Seven Sisters and
The Shepherdess and the Seven Sons.
the Shepherdess and the Seven Sisters, which is a great favorite of mine, and it's so beautifully shot. I think with Ranabir, a lot of the questions of co-authorship, how cinematographers, editors, how do you view this whole notion of co-authorship in a film and how much a cinematographer contributes to this? I think we can talk a little bit about that. We have Divya Prabha, our own little Divya Prabha, who is this star actress who has taken Malayalam cinema and a lot of the world by storm. I don't know if you all have seen Payal's new film, but we've seen her in so many films, and Mahesh's film, Aripa, was the one that really got her all the fame, and we've seen her from Takeoff, of course, in lots of films. So, welcome. We have Kani, again another familiar face. I remember many years ago when I saw Vipin's film, Flowering Tree. I thought, who is this? Of course, we knew Jayashri and Maitreyan and all that, but I said, who is this girl who is sort of such a fantastic presence? And from there, she has grown and grown and grown. And this year, there is another film that we are all talking about, apart from All We Imagine Is Light, is Girls Will Be Girls, in which is another very big international film that is doing the rounds, and Kani is in that too. So, this interesting thing of being an actor from Malayalam but being very international is also a very important idea about Malayalam cinema, basically. How is the local and the international sort of merging a lot in Malayalam cinema today? And of course, we have Payal Kapadia, a filmmaker who has really made us proud. First time after 30 years. I'm really sorry. I don't want to overplay that too much because that is not our kind of measure of success all the time that we get an award at Cannes, but it is very big. So she made a film called All We Imagine Is Light, which won the award at Cannes this year. Before that, she has made a documentary called A Night of Knowing Nothing. But I've been watching Payal's work ever since she's a student, and I've seen how she's grown and how she's come of age, really. So we'll be talking about this journey that she's been through. So without much ado, we'll start. I would like to first start with Payal. I don't know if everybody knows what All We Imagine Is Light is about. It's about two nurses living in Bombay. The film is a lot in Malayalam. It is about two Malayali nurses. But the issues it talks about are friendship, migration, city, Um, and also, I think it's a strong woman's voice. I have not seen a film in the last many years that when you look at it, you say, yes, a woman has made this film. And for me, that was very, very important, Payal. So just tell us about how you came upon this story. How did you, how did you sort of decide to explore this story of two nurses living in Bombay? And yeah, we can start with that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the introduction and for having us here at the Manorama Hotel. It's really nice to be here finally. After traveling the whole world, we are finally coming back here where a lot of the preparation for the film was in Kerala. And to be with everybody, it's really special. So thank you. And my first film, which was my DV film in FTI, was selected by you to IDSF FK. Unfortunately, FTI refused to send it, but that's an ongoing problem.
That's another problem.
But that was like my first sending to a film festival. That excitement, that wanting to go to a film festival was IDSF FK. So I have a connection to Kerala for a long time. So the film, I wanted to make a film about women who come from different parts of our country to work in Mumbai. And because even though I am from Mumbai, I always feel a bit like an outsider there because I studied in Andhra Pradesh. After that, I was in Pune to do film school. So I can't say that I have a lot of long connections to people like old friends and things like that. So my relationship with Mumbai is a kind of love-hate relationship. And so it was important for me to make a film about people who come and make Mumbai their home because of necessity. You know, it's a very cruel city also. Of course, it's a city that gives a lot of freedom. It gives a lot of good things as well. But, you know, it's a double-edged sword like most big cities are, especially commercial cities like Mumbai. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to make the film. And when I was a student still in my final year in FTI, I had to do the diploma project we call diploma film. And at that time, I was into medical situations in my family, like, we have to go and sit outside in the waiting room in the hospital. And because I was the only one who was still a student in my family, I was sent to wait at the hospital for the two situations that were going on. And over there, I made some friends with nurses who happened to be Malayali. And they told me all, like, I was, because when you're a student filmmaker, everything is, you're very curious about everything. So I was doing a lot of like chatting and just, what we call adda. So kind of being very annoying to them, of course, because they are very busy. But whenever I could get a free chance to talk, then I was collecting all kind of stories, thinking I will make a diploma film. But then I got too much material and I said it has to be a feature film. But I wanted to keep that, like the people I met and the story, that is why I continued that it will be Malayali nurses, even though I think it was a crazy thought to say that I will make a film in Malayalam. But fortunately I met very good collaborators. The writers who wrote the dialogues, Robin Joy and Naseem, they worked with me for more than a year to write the dialogues. And when I met them, they also worked on the dialogues themselves, the nuances of the dialogues and things like that. So I would say it's a very collaborative process, and I learned a lot from it. So I'm very thankful.
Let me ask you about film. Bombay is a character in that film. At least the first half. Certainly it is. So tell me about the locations you went to. How as a cinematographer, it is a little, it's a little disconnected. Even the location of the hospital itself becomes so much a character. It's not that it's just any old hospital or. So as a cinematographer, what is your process of translating this script that you've read or you worked on together into the actual physicality of the spaces, the light. And I've noticed this even in the other film, in A Night of Knowing Nothing. How have you, location becomes such an important thing in your telling of these stories?
I think as a cinematographer, the process that we followed in this film, I'm very fortunate to follow, in the sense that we started working on it from a long time before we actually shot. So even before the script was ready. So while the script was being written, we would also shoot the city a lot, and I think through a very organic process we finally arrived at what it should look like. And like, it's a city which everybody would shoot differently, and it can be shot in 100 different ways. But we wanted to like make sure that some like presence of the city, the character of the city remains in how we shoot. And it's a very difficult city to shoot in. So to get permissions and to find new ways to look at different places. So we spent a lot of time trying to make sure that somewhere, like whether it's some sort of construction or trains, and these are things that we looked at as more as iconic images of the city, not as some not some landmarks which could be. So we just shot it in various different ways over a long period of time. And
Is it in some particular areas that you all shot, or is it just the city? This is, for me, very much there is a clue in what you're saying, because, I mean, at least I know that it's Parel and these places. If you could talk a little about that as well, why you chose those areas. And
so we decided to situate the hospital in Lower Parel, and it's just because of the recent history of that area, and how in the last 20-30 years it's completely changed. And it's from a mill area of where there used to be the mills. It's become this very kind of posh and with large buildings. I think Payal will be able to talk about this a little bit better. But
those who are familiar with Bombay will know that it was until the 80s the cotton mills were all in Dadar and Lower Parel area, and after the strike, systematically the mills were shut down, and it was there was a kind of there was a court case which happened whereby the people who worked in the mills were entitled to 1/3 of that land, but there was a major land scam that happened finally, and they were not many of them didn't get the housing that they were supposed to get. So actually, if you go past that area in Mumbai, it's completely changed from what it was 20 years ago. Like, the mills have become luxury malls quite a lot, and spaces that no one who ever lived there would feel happy to go to. And it's always the public space that is taken away first. So, and now if you go there, there is always these large buildings which have gated communities, like you have to get some special permission to go inside those buildings and things like that. So there is a violent gentrification that has happened in this area, and architecturally also, if you just drive past, you will see that change, what has happened. So we wanted to have this element of Mumbai because for me it's a very important landmark place and change that has happened. In fact, the film starts with Dadar flower market, and if you go to the Dadar the market in Mumbai, it's a wholesale market that happens very early in the morning. It's finished by 7 o'clock. But that same street becomes like a very fancy area where multinational buildings are there. But between 4 and 7, it is the wholesale market. So that is Mumbai. We wanted to shoot this area.
okay, we'll come back to that a little more.
Sorry.
But tell me, how did you find these young ladies? How did you, what was the process you went about for casting? And Payal, you start and then let them talk about their experiences on working.
Like Kanni, I saw in a film many years ago. It was called Memories of a Machine, and I had really liked her performance in that. So I at that time I was in that student phase, writing for the diploma film. And so I said, okay, I will make this film and all. And I called her. I said, please, will you act in the film? But there are two characters in the film. One she is playing now, and one Kani is playing. And they are supposed to be with the age difference. Like the younger one is supposed to be in her early 20s, and the older one is in her late 30s. So I had approached Kani for the younger role, because it was some time ago. Then time passed, and I took many years to make the film. Both of us grew older. And but I was a fan already, so I approached her again and said that let's try for the other role. Like she only said it herself. But over the years, I used to keep sending her scripts versions, so she knew all the different drafts. Then Divya, I had seen in Arippa, and I really liked this film a lot, and I really liked her performance in it. So I wasn't sure, like, because in that film she's very serious and stern kind of character. In my film, if you see now, she's very different. So I said, let's meet her and see. I wasn't fully sure like how it would go, but she came over to my place because I like to meet actors like that, to come and stay with me for 2 days, because at the end of the day, making a film is such a collaboration that I didn't want it to be that actors are just coming to do the job and going away, but really working with us together. So for that reason, I would call them over and stay with me for 2 days. And she came, and when she got off the train only, she's like got this nice punk walking, and you know, like she had short hair, and I said, okay, this maybe I'll ask her if she'll do this role, and she was happy to do it. So I think.
Kani Adyambara. Kani, how was your experience? And also, how is it different? You worked within Kerala, you worked outside a lot. If you can just talk about these processes, how do you find it different, and how do you get into a character? And then we'll talk about particularly Payal.
Working outside of Kerala, for me, especially Bombay, I felt it's more female friendly. That's one thing that I noticed, and more professional in some sort of things. Not everything, of course, but I find in Bombay it's more comfortable for a woman to work and to travel. And to be able to talk to the crew and everyone, you have a certain respect, no matter. Like sometimes here I feel that respect comes when you are the main actor, or like I felt in Bombay people were treated more equally in the professional space than in Kerala. Unfortunately, that's one of my evident experience that I felt. Then about preparing a character, sometimes, of course, we all are from films, many film people are here. Sometimes we are not in the privilege to prepare and go. Sometimes you get a character and you have to shoot immediately. So I think I make myself open to it. Like whenever I am not working, I think I'm preparing for something that I get. Like you are at home, you have your extra time is when I'm observing or practicing my craft, so that I can do something if I'm called. So not everything still I'll be able to do, but some of the things you can do if you are. I think most actors in India does it because we get our work suddenly, like in next week you have to shoot and all. But sometimes you are at the privilege, you have enough time. For example, Payal's film, even though it was an independent, small resources, small budgeted film, she insisted on having preparation, all the departments, not just actors. She took that time. She said, this is not a negotiable thing. I will have my rehearsals. Also, she doesn't speak the language, so I think she also really needed the preparation. We all needed. So I was under like so much privilege in this Payal's film where we got our rehearsals. So I prepared the character along with my director and my co-actors. It was a learning process together. Prior to shoot, we knew what we almost knew, like the director will know. I as an actor knew what's my path to this creation. And so that was very comforting for me because I'm from theatre. We really prepare before a show. So I'm used to that preparation. So I think I'm always caught off the guard when I did not have enough time to prepare. So, and then according to each director, some directors are very, very particular about how they want the scene to be. Even Payal, she's very collaborating, she's very receptive, but she's a very strong author, I thought. She really know exactly what she wants. So it's a slow negotiation to reach to that point. But it was comforting because she gave us the time and space to reach there. And she was open to, if we don't agree with something, we're like, this is like this. So that was nice. But sometimes there are directors who are very, very peculiar, exactly what they want, but unfortunately the producers or the resources are not supporting to prepare for this. So we are at a junction where we have to deliver certain kind of craft and we are not able to. So I try to be as open as it is and what the director wants, and try to get the team. It's a collab. I mean, filmmaking and theatre both. I think it's a lot of people's work. It's definitely not one person's. So if we get that time, it's the best, I think. And for me, that's when I perform the best, I feel. Yeah.
One more question, which is a bit odd. How would you reject a script? Do you reject scripts that you don't want to act in this? What is it that gives you that signal that you don't want to work in this film?
This is a very, I mean, I wish I would ideally want to reach a place where I have so much of work that I can say no. So I think for me, I mean, ideally, I would love to be like I want to be part of this story. This, like, for example, when I read Payal's script, it's not like my kind. It's not because it's my kind, not necessarily. It's maybe very different from you, the way she has written, the way she's interpreting the characters. But I would like to connect to that feeling, primarily with the script. And then when you talk to the director, you feel a give and take between them that, okay, there is a communication that's happening honestly. So can I be part of it? Then, of course, the crew and everything. So this is how I would love. But most times, sometimes you are not okay with the story, but then sometimes you meet the director. For example, Girls Will Be Girls. When I read the script, I was like, Shuchi, I'm not understanding this character. I don't understand this. And she's like, oh, I would love you to play it. I'm like, okay. And then we talked. The moment I talked to her, I was like, I want to work with this director. It is a great opportunity for me to learn. And while talking to her, I understood the story. Then my co-actor, Preeti, when she and I rehearsed, the way she interpreted the character, I suddenly started understanding. So I just feel I just have to be open. Sometimes it's not, I can't make a decision while reading the script. Sometimes it's like in the process you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to. So we don't have this kind of privilege. Like in theatre, sometimes while you're rehearsing, you're like, I don't think I can do this. So, but film is a much different kind of place. With one reading of script, sometimes you have to make the decision. That's not an easy process, actually. I feel it's a learning process, and in the process is when you really know whether you want to be part of it or not. But we don't have that privilege. So you're making the decision. For me, I say no to mostly, for me, mostly female authors. Sometimes when they come to me, even when I don't agree, I'm like, I want to, if they really like me, I want to give a chance, like, because I just want to work with them. This is my first primary feeling with female directors. When it's a man, I'm sometimes like, if I don't like the subject, sometimes when I talk to them, I understand that this is not working out. These are the reasons that I say no. Sometimes I'm lazy, I think. I say, not lazy, like I am a very anxious person to travel. So if it's like somewhere far and somewhere I'm not, I feel very anxious. I mean, honestly saying, I'm a very anxious person. So I have said no like that also. It's a very personal thing, but it has happened to me. But in an ideal situation, yes, the story and the director should connect in a way that's when I say yes. No, I would like to have a process to be able to, really, that is an ideal situation, but yeah.
Divya, I don't know, in All We Imagine Is Light, that character you really fall in love with Divya's character. I don't know how many, I think many people have not seen the film, but the sense of hope, the sense of life, of course she goes through her journey in the film, but there is something so life affirming about that character. Her attitude to love, her attitude to sex, her attitude to just living life the way she wants. So if Divya, you can talk a little bit about, because as Payal said, it's so different from the character you play in Arippu, which is so, in fact, so hopeless. I mean, she's really caught in a situation of being very devoid of any hope. So if you can talk about how you got into this film, how you formed this character, what were your own, what do you think was your contribution as an actor to this? Malayalathil bara. Please talk in Malayalam. I think everybody will want to hear you.
First of all, I would like to, thanks to Payal for giving me a chance to play a very younger role. And എന്നെ ആദ്യം വിളിക്കുന്നത് പ്രഭ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ക്യാരക്ടറിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് പായൽ. അപ്പോൾ കാരണം അറിയിപ്പ് കണ്ടിട്ട്, അപ്പം വായിച്ചപ്പോഴും ഞാൻ പ്രഭയുടെ പോയിൻ്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂവിലാണ് അത് വായിക്കുന്നത് പോലും. അപ്പം ശരിക്കും ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായിട്ടാണ് ഒരു സ്ക്രിപ്റ്റ് വായിച്ചിട്ട് എനിക്ക് ശരിക്കും എന്താ പറയുക, കരയാനൊക്കെ തോന്നി ചില സീൻസ് വായിച്ചിട്ട്. അപ്പം അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് ഒരു 2 റൗണ്ട് ഓഡിഷനൊക്കെ കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഞാൻ പായലിനെ മീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ പായൽ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എന്നെ കണ്ടപ്പം ഭയങ്കര എനർജറ്റിക് ആയിട്ടും വേറെ തന്നെയാണ് ആ ക്യാരക്ടറായിട്ട് ഒട്ടും റിലേറ്റബിൾ അല്ല. അങ്ങനെയാണെങ്കിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് പ്രഭ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോഴാണ് എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് എന്നാൽ പിന്നെ ഈ അനു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ക്യാരക്ടർ ഒന്ന് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. പക്ഷേ ഞാൻ ഭയങ്കര ഇൻവോൾവ് ആയിരുന്നു അതിൽ. നമ്മൾ എന്തായാലും ഓഡിഷൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ആയിരിക്കുമല്ലോ. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ അനു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ക്യാരക്ടറിന് വേണ്ടി ഓഡിഷൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഇതിലോട്ട് എൻ്റർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈമാണ് എല്ലാ മൂവീസിലും ഞാൻ മാക്സിമം പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ കുറച്ച് ടൈമാണെങ്കിലും അതിനുവേണ്ടി പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് തന്നെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. അല്ലാണ്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള വർക്ക്സും ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ എപ്പോഴും ഒരു റിസൾട്ട് നന്നാകുന്നത് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും. ഇതിൽ കുറച്ചധികം ടൈം കിട്ടി പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. ഒരുപാട് വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് ചെയ്തു. എല്ലാ സീൻസിനും ചിലപ്പം കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റ് സെയിം ആണെങ്കിലും അതിന് ഒരുപാട് ഓപ്ഷൻസ് വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. അതുപോലെ ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തത് പായലിൻ്റെ ഫ്ലാറ്റിലാണെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് പായലിൻ്റെ ആ ഒരു സ്പേസ് നമുക്ക് ചിലപ്പോൾ റെയിൽവേ സ്റ്റേഷനായിരുന്നു, കിച്ചണായിരുന്നു, ബസ് സ്റ്റോപ്പായിരുന്നു ഇടയ്ക്ക്. അപ്പം നമ്മൾ ആക്ച്വൽ ലൊക്കേഷന് ചെല്ലുമ്പോഴും ലൊക്കേഷൻ്റെ ഒരു ജിയോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഐഡിയ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട്. കാരണം അങ്ങനെയും കൂടെ നമ്മൾ അതിന് വേണ്ടി വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. നമുക്കറിയാം, നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലറിയാൻ പറ്റും. ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രഭയാനും താമസിക്കുന്ന അപ്പാർട്ട്മെൻ്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ എവിടെയാണ് ബെഡ്റൂം, എവിടെയാണ് കിച്ചൺ, അതെല്ലാം ഒരു ജിയോഗ്രഫിക്കലി ഉള്ള ഒരു ഐഡിയ നമുക്കുണ്ട്. അപ്പം അത്രയ്ക്കും അതിന് വേണ്ടി വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പ് ചെയ്തു എന്നാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് ആക്ച്വൽ ലൊക്കേഷൻ ചെല്ലുമ്പം എനിക്ക് പേഴ്സണലി തോന്നിയത് നമ്മൾ ആക്ച്വൽ ലൊക്കേഷനിൽ റിഹേഴ്സൽ ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നുള്ള പോലെ. കാരണം അത്രയ്ക്കും അതിൽ ഇൻവോൾവ് ആണ്. എനിക്ക് എല്ലാ ക്രെഡിറ്റും പായലിന് കൊടുക്കണമെന്നുണ്ട്. കാരണം ആക്ടേഴ്സുമായിട്ട് മാത്രമല്ല, അതിലെ ടെക്നീഷ്യൻസായിട്ടും ഭയങ്കര കൊളാബറേറ്റീവ് ആയിരുന്നു. കാരണം അവർക്കും അറിയാം എന്താണ് നമ്മളിവിടെ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. നോർമലി അല്ല, മെജോറിറ്റി എനിക്ക് ചിലപ്പോൾ ചില സെറ്റിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പം പല ടെക്നീഷ്യൻസിനും അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് സ്ക്രിപ്റ്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് കൂടുതൽ അറിയില്ല, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ തോന്നാറുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഇവിടെ മേക്കപ്പ് ആർട്ടിസ്റ്റിന് ഉൾപ്പെടെ ഏത് സീനാണ് എടുക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്, എന്താണ് ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളൊരു ഐഡിയ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ പിന്നെ ആക്ടേഴ്സിൻ്റെ കാര്യം പറയണ്ടല്ലോ. പിന്നെ നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും എന്താ പറയുക, ഒരു മലയാളം സ്ലാങ്, ഇപ്പം എൻ്റെ ക്യാരക്ടർ പാലക്കാട് നിന്നാണ് വരുന്നത്, പ്രഭ കൊല്ലമാണ്. അപ്പം അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്ലാങ്ങിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടും നമ്മൾ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ പായൽ നോൺ മലയാളി ആണെങ്കിലും അത്രയും ചെറിയൊരു ന്യൂവാൻസസ് ആണെങ്കിലും എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ പായൽ ചോദിക്കും എല്ലാത്തിലും. ഇപ്പോൾ റോബിൻ നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ അസോസിയേറ്റ് ഡയറക്ടർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം അതിൽ മലയാളത്തിൽ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ റോബിൻ്റെ മാത്രം ഒരു ഡിസിഷൻ ആയിരിക്കില്ല, അതിൽ എന്തൊക്കെ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കണം ഉള്ള ഒരു ഒബ്സർവേഷൻ ഭയങ്കരമായിരുന്നു. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ പോസസ് ആണെങ്കിലും സ്ലാങ് ആണെങ്കിലും ഇപ്പം ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഇടയ്ക്കാണെങ്കിലും അത് ഓക്കെ അല്ലേ, സ്ലാങ് ഓക്കെ അല്ലേ എന്നുള്ളൊരു രണ്ടാമതൊരു റീചെക്കിംഗ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം എന്താ പറയുക, അത്തരത്തിലാണ് ഇത് വർക്ക് ചെയ്ത് എടുത്തത്.
ഈ ക്യാരക്ടറിൻ്റെ പറ്റി ചോദിക്കുമ്പോഴേ ദിവ്യയ്ക്ക് is there anything of yourself in that character? Are you?
കുറച്ച് റിലേറ്റബിൾ ആയിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ ഏജ് വൈസും മെച്യൂരിറ്റി വൈസൊക്കെ ഇപ്പം എനിക്ക് 33 വയസ്സുണ്ട്, ക്യാരക്ടറിന് ഒരു 24-25 വയസ്സേ ഉള്ളൂ. അപ്പം അതിൽ കുറച്ച് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വന്നു. കാരണം ബിഹേവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയാണെങ്കിലും ആ ഒരു സ്പോണ്ടേനിറ്റി എനിക്കതുള്ള ആളാണ്, പക്ഷേ അത് ക്യാരക്ടറിൻ്റെ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവിൽ ആലോചിച്ചിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വന്നു. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ബേസിക് തിങ്സാണ്, നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ ക്യാരക്ടറിനും അത് നോക്കണം. ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ നടക്കുന്ന രീതിയാണെങ്കിലും സ്ലാങ് ആണെങ്കിലും നമ്മുടെ സൗണ്ടിലൊക്കെ കുറച്ച് ചേഞ്ച് വരുത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. പായലിന് കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള റെഫറൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇപ്പം നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു വോയിസ് ഓവർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പം നോർമലി സിനിമയിൽ വോയിസ് ഓവറൊക്കെ ഒരു നമ്മൾ കേട്ട് അതിനും എവിടെ നിൽക്കണം, ഇൻ ബിറ്റ്വീൻ വിസ്പറിങ് അല്ല എന്നാൽ വോയിസ് ഓവർ പ്രോപ്പർ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, അത്രയ്ക്കും ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വൈസ് ചോദിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ കുറച്ചും കൂടി എൻ്റെ ഒരു യങ്ങർ വേർഷൻ ഞാനത് റീകോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ ട്രൈ ചെയ്തു. കാരണം എൻ്റെ യങ്ങർ വേർഷനായിട്ട് കുറച്ച് റിലേറ്റബിൾ ആണ്. പക്ഷേ ഇപ്പോൾ അത് റീകോൾ ചെയ്ത് പോർട്രേ ചെയ്യാമെന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ടാണ്. അപ്പം അത് ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ആകുമ്പോഴാണല്ലോ, ആ ചലഞ്ച് ഉള്ളപ്പോഴാണല്ലോ നമുക്ക് പ്ലേ ചെയ്യാൻ തോന്നുന്നത്.
So, just to continue with this, what about the politics of that character? Were you able to relate to all that, or was it because it was a character that you?
അനു എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഭയങ്കര ഒരു ടീനേജ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രായമാണ്. അപ്പം ഭയങ്കര ലേസി ആയിട്ടുള്ള, ഇങ്ങനെ എപ്പോഴും പ്രേമിച്ച് നടക്കാനൊക്കെ ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള, എപ്പോഴും ആ ഒരു സോണിലാണ് എത്തിയിട്ടുള്ളൂ. അപ്പം അതിൽ ഫോക്കസ് അല്ല, നമ്മളിപ്പം എനിക്ക് ഈ ആലോചിക്കുമ്പോഴും നമ്മളും ഇവിടെ ആണെങ്കിലും ഒരുപാട് ഫേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാണ്, ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു പ്രേമിക്കാൻ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുള്ള ഒരു സ്ഥലത്താണ് നമ്മൾ ജീവിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പം അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ടീസിലൂടെ കടന്നു പോകുന്ന ഒരു ക്യാരക്ടറാണ്. സോ അതും അപ്പം ആ ഒരു റെപ്രസെൻറ്റേഷൻ തന്നെ പൊളിറ്റിക്കലാണെന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത്. അത് സിനിമയിൽ കാണിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് കൃത്യമായിട്ട്. ചിലപ്പം സിസ്റ്റം അൺസപ്പോർട്ടീവായിട്ടുള്ള സിസ്റ്റം ആയിരിക്കാം, ചിലപ്പം വേറെ ചുറ്റുപാട് സറൗണ്ടിങ്സ് ആയിരിക്കാം, അങ്ങനെ പല റീസൺസ് കൊണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അത് സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലാവും. ഞാൻ കൂടുതൽ റിവീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല.
So, Payal, your earlier films, if you look at this notion of love, friendship, are sort of central to themes, but not in any vacuum of just saying that you can be friends. But in the case of their friendship, it's an older woman who's very scarred, and there's a young woman who's looking forward to life. So there's so much there's so much nuance, and there's so much emphasis given on the background of all these friendships. Almost the impossibility of love. If you could talk a little bit about that, do you really believe that friendship and love are the kind of key elements of living a good life?
No, I'll take it from you. There are many things to your question, many different layers to it. And one thing that in our country, love is very political. I think it's political in other countries also. In India, it's particularly so. And there is especially this question of choice that women have, and kind of infantilizing of women's choice is something that I've tried to think about through the work. So I think that friendship is a very interesting relationship, because if you take relationships of things in the family, mother, father, sister, it's been so defined, and in our culture too, mother figure, country, all these things are so codified. But friendship is still open. Like we can decide what kind of friends we want to be, and for me, not having that codification is a lot of possibility, and a possibility to go past our differences in identity, our class, caste, identities that kind of restrict certain familial relationships, unfortunately, in our culture. Friendship perhaps can go beyond that, at least the basic kind of what is the friendship, that definition is up to us. And for me, that is a lot of possibility. And I think because in the work that we do also as filmmakers, you rely a lot on other people. It's a truly collaborative work. So I think that there is in every, I rely a lot on my collaborators and my friends. And I have been nurtured a lot by that. So it's a kind of a homage to friendships that I started basically in FTI. And I work with the same people who I met there. And I wouldn't have met them if it wasn't for cinema. So cinema, friendship, and working in films, and also the possibility of a different kind of life, I think it's possible through friendship, especially in a country like ours.
Yeah, and I think The Night of Knowing Nothing is also a great tribute to friendship and your friends. Yeah. Just talking about this not wanting to fall, or a kind of resistance to fall into any genre or any kind of artistic prescription. Basically, because if you look at even all we know, the last film, and we look at your earlier films, there is this element of so-called documentary, fiction, which seem to be. Do you think it's time to sort of just do away with all these sort of notions of what is a documentary, what is a fiction film? Because everything is actually, as far as one sees in your films, there isn't that line at all. So if you could talk a little bit about why you chose to, you know, because especially in The Night of Knowing Nothing, when you start with a fictional love story, it can or it does sometimes could raise questions about why do you need to do a fictional story to tell a real story, which is the story of what is happening in the country. Yeah.
I mean, I think the way of telling can be many different ways, and we are basically making the same film again, I think. But the way of telling will continue to evolve, and that I think is the joy of being a filmmaker also, that all the time we are trying to kind of formalistically we have the same questions in our life. I think we go on asking those same questions, and hopefully somewhere we will find the answers, but unfortunately that is not how the world is designed. So it's the same kind of film, but I'm trying to have different ways to get there. But for me, it's cinema, it's not fiction, non-fiction. There are both can exist together. And it's not, I think that this has been something that is being challenged in Indian cinema for a long time. It's just that now everybody likes to talk, okay, because, you know, film festivals have sections, documentary, fiction, which is why we say, okay, fine, I'll put it in non-fiction section. But as filmmakers, at least for me, I feel that it is, even when I'm watching a film, oftentimes when I'm watching a documentary or watching films which mix documentary and fiction, it's you just go on the journey of the film and the questions that the film is raising, and not kind of get kind of, I feel those things can be limiting rather than freeing, and the mind can really, like, I was reading, even in literature we have this, like I was reading John Berger, who works very with non-fiction and fiction in the writing, and you don't know which is which sometimes, but it's okay. We are not, as human beings, we should be able to make some kind of critical analysis of things as we see them. So that's why I feel that these things are more freeing than restricting.
I think it'll be different for every filmmaker, in the sense that a lot of people embrace genre films also, and use that as like something to do, expand on that, and to tell a story through that existing form where people can easily grasp something but take it to another level. But I think that with Payal and myself, we stumble upon like the film that we want to make. So we don't really know what we're doing most of the time. So it's a process where we try some things out and finally reach, okay, so this is what we are doing and this is what the film is going to be. So it's a little bit harder to follow a structured path from before.
Yeah, and I think we have a film from here which perhaps also defines this kind of things, which is Amaryan, which The Night of Knowing Nothing reminded me a lot of Amaryan when I watched it. I mean, just the journey and the kind of concerns of the form, etc., the whole thing of the letter. There were a lot of things that sort of connected very closely with Amaryan, with that film. One last question. Your relationship with being cinephiles, right? That you watched lots of films, you, I'm sure, have many, many people you all admire and whose work, how does that translate into your own work? In All We Imagine Is Light, I mean, the two sections are very clear. The first part of the film takes place over so many days. The last section of the film takes place over 2 days, maybe? One long day, yeah. It's like, you know, you've collapsed time and you've extended time. There's a lot of the imagery from the second half that I can see comes from perhaps filmmakers you all admire, you've seen, or you pay some kind of tribute to. So if you could talk about that, because it's very interesting that how does a filmmaker absorb influences, which is not replication, which is not in any way a kind of riding on, but an inspiration. Especially in the second half, I see lots of stuff.
We are very big cinephiles. We watch a lot of movies, and every time it will be for a different film. You'll get inspired by a different filmmaker. So for this film, we had 3 women filmmakers who we were very inspired by. For the first half, it was Chantal Ackerman's News from Home. It's also a kind of it's a documentary about New York. Not really, it's about her writing letters to her mother in Belgium, but shooting New York City. So I was very, like, how she has shot the trains and everything over there, it really inspired me. And then Agnes Varda's Cleo from 5 to 7, which also mixes fiction and non-fiction in a kind of a, with the new wave cinema, which had that style of just going into the streets and shooting. So we also tried to do that, and Divya was very accommodating, because she became the character and she will be walking and we are shooting with a DSLR, pretending that we are making reels or something like this. So it was a very fun process. So that was one inspiration. And then for the second part, Alice Rohrwacher is an Italian director. Yes, La Chimera and Happy as Lazaro are films which I really, really admire a lot, because in her work also she has a lot of kind of neorealistic quality, but also fable and fantasy. And that was something I was thinking of mixing all these different things of reality, like very verite, but also very fable-like quality. And that is very much part of our literature also, to have very neorealistic social issues along with very fable, fairy tale quality. So I was trying to do that in the film. Sometimes it baffles people, like, how did this film get here? But well, why not?
Okay, last question about collaboration. How do you all collaborate with each other? As cinematographer, as director, actors, is the script the basis of that communication? Or do you tell Kani to watch a film that you've seen that you really like, or do you give reference? And of course, in your relationship, which is very intense as makers of this work, what is that process of do you have to, I mean, is agreement the basis or is disagreement the basis? Let's see.
It's
No, as cinematographer, do you want to also be known as author? Not as
it's fine.
not as a kind of provocative question, or not in this particular, but in a general sense. Yeah, the editor. The whole question of who finally is the author of a work.
So with Payal, of course, I have a very different working relationship, and when I'm working with other directors, it was a very different. No, so I think that with Payal, she is definitely the author first, but I have a much stronger involvement in her films than I would have with somebody else when I would be working as a cinematographer. It starts a lot earlier, and hence there's a lot more that I have to suggest outside of cinematography as well, which eventually Payal will take the call whether to take that suggestion or not. But and often there might be disagreements, but there in a much larger sense, I think that we are on the same page. So.
Why I'm laughing is because in the beginning, like in relationships also, how in the beginning we are very sweet and we show only our nice side. Payal and I, we were like, in the beginning. Then once the collaboration started, I'm like, no, that's not how it should be. So Payal and I I'm always like, no, you can't. And Payal is like, oh my God, Kani is frowning. So we had I think we had a relationship basically in that level of collaboration. It was almost like sometimes Riku will say something and I'm like, Payal, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. What you wrote is better than what So I used to be like that. I became completely open to her actually. She was okay. Like she was like, when she is the one who enabled it to be, because I knew that she will take only what she wants at the end of the day. So I was at my comfort space where I'm going to say everything that's coming to my mind. She will take, because if I felt the director is vulnerable to mine, then you are like, okay, I don't know, like, you know. But she just allowed, I think, all of us just to say everything that comes, and then she will also argue back, or like we all negotiate, and sometimes she agreed to us, but it will be only because she seeing it, like Riku said, a clear authorship was there. But yeah, I had a relationship with Payal actually.
സോറി എനിക്ക് കൊളാബറേഷനെ കുറിച്ച് തന്നെയാണ് പറയാനുള്ളത്. കാരണം അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്പേസ് എപ്പോഴും കിട്ടാറില്ല. കാരണം ചിലപ്പം ചില സമയത്ത് ചില വർക്കുകളിൽ ഇത് പറയണോ വേണ്ടേ എന്നുള്ള കൺഫ്യൂഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവാറുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ആ ഒരു കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ എനിക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും തോന്നിയിട്ടില്ല. എനിക്കൊരു ക്യാരക്ടറിനെ കുറിച്ച് എനിക്ക് എന്ത് തോന്നിയാലും എന്തും പറയാനുള്ളൊരു സ്പേസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതായിരിക്കും എനിക്ക് കൂടുതൽ പറയാനുള്ളതിനെക്കുറിച്ച്. മാത്രമല്ല ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ അത്രയും ആ ഇൻറ്റേർണലൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് ആ ക്യാരക്ടർ. സോ അപ്പം നമ്മുടെ ഭാഗത്തുനിന്ന് വരുന്ന സജഷൻസും ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് എല്ലാം ചിലപ്പം ഓക്കെ ആവാൻ ചാൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. കാരണം നമ്മൾ ആ സോണിലാണ് എപ്പോഴും ഉള്ളത്. അങ്ങനെ തോന്നിയിട്ടുണ്ട്.
Ala, it's quite interesting because sometimes because of the language, whether there was this feeling that she doesn't know these characters as well as we do. അങ്ങനെ വരാനുള്ള ചാൻസും ഉണ്ടാവും.
So there were moments where മലയാളത്തിൽ ചില സമയത്ത് ഞാനും ദിവ്യയും കൂടെ പായലിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത്, ഞങ്ങൾ മലയാളികൾ ഇങ്ങനെ അല്ല, പായലിനറിയാതെ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പലതവണ ശ്രമിച്ചു. പക്ഷേ പായൽ പറഞ്ഞു ആണ്, പക്ഷേ ഇതിൻ്റെ സിനിമയാണ് അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ. പക്ഷേ അത് ഭയങ്കര ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് ഇട്ട് വാസ്. പിന്നെ ഐ തിങ്ക് എനിക്ക് കുറേ കാര്യം സിനിമ അവസാനം ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രീമിയർ കാണുമ്പോൾ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് കാണുമ്പോഴാണ് ഓക്കെ പായലിൻ്റെ ഓത്തർഷിപ്പ് എത്ര സ്ട്രോങ് ആണ്. അത് ആ ഒരു ടൊണാലിറ്റി സിനിമയ്ക്കൊരു പായൽ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നൊരു ഡിഷ് പോലെ, അതായത് അവരാണ് അതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ മണവും രുചിയും കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നത്. അത്രയും ക്ലിയർ ആയിരുന്നു എനിക്ക് സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോൾ. അതിൻ്റെ അകത്തേക്ക് നമ്മളെ എത്തിക്കാൻ തന്നെയാണ് ശ്രമിച്ചത് എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായത് സിനിമ കാണുമ്പോൾ.
അല്ല, എനിക്കിപ്പോൾ ഒരു കാര്യം ഓർമ്മ വന്നത്, നമുക്ക് ചെറിയ ഡബ്ബിംഗ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, സിങ് സൗണ്ട് ആയിരുന്നു സിനിമ, എന്നാലും കുറച്ച് ഡബ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. സോ അതിൻ്റെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ ഒരു വാക്കിന് വേണ്ടി, ഒരു വേർഡിന് വേണ്ടി ഇങ്ങനെ തപ്പുമായിരുന്നു. പക്ഷേ എന്നുവെച്ചാൽ സിനിമ എല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞ് നമ്മൾ ആ ഒരു ഡബിൻ്റെ സമയത്ത് പായൽ ഒരു വേർഡ് സജസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തു റോബിന്. യു റിമെമ്പർ ലൈക്ക് വാട്ട് ഇഫ് യു യൂസ് ദിസ് വേർഡ് ഇൻസ്റ്റെഡ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ്, അങ്ങനെ യു സജസ്റ്റഡ് സം വേർഡ് ലൈക്ക് മലയാളം വേർഡ്. അപ്പോൾ അതുവരെ എത്തിയെന്ന് പറയായിരുന്നു കൊളാബറേഷൻ.
We'll open it out to questions. It can go on like this.
I'm Meryl from Trivandrum. So my question, one question would be to Payal ma'am. When you were telling about like the story is based on migrant nurses who are working in Mumbai, the first picture that comes to our mind is of Arna Shanbod, a tragic story that happened in Mumbai. She was also a migrant a nurse from South India, Karnataka to be specific. And as you just mentioned, the location is also Parel, where her hospital, the KEM hospital, King Edward Memorial Hospital was. So I'm just curious whether your narrative had an influence from her story or her character.
The influence came from the nurses that I had met, but it was also a universal story about an experience of coming to Mumbai to work. So I wanted to keep it also in a way that would be universal and yet specific. So yeah, that was the starting point.
Okay, thank you.
Hi everyone. Congratulations on your film. I had the pleasure of watching it at Mami a few weeks ago and I really loved it. My question is for you, Payal. Because you mentioned that you started working on the idea when you were still at FTII and you ended up making it many years later. So, you know, as you evolved as a person and as a filmmaker, how do you think the story evolved with you? And do you think you were meant to make it at the time that you did?
That's a nice question. Yeah, like when I started writing the film, I think I was more closer to Anu as the character because I was also younger. And then as the years progressed, I think I became closer to the older nurse as a character because I grew older and I became... so the film was initially from the younger nurses, more her point of view. But I think as I grew older, I saw my own limitations as a person, as a woman. And I began to find more empathy towards the character who I had an ambivalent feeling towards. And I began to see where my faults as a person also are, as somebody who is a woman who is in her late 30s, thinking about the younger generation. I feel that sometimes I have also failed. And that is one of the things that I'm trying to explore in the film. So my relationship definitely changed with my own questions and concerns.
Hi, ma'am. Hi. Hello. Over here. Yes. Hi. Congratulations on the film, ma'am. Being a woman, it's really inspiring to see women filmmaker, quote unquote. I still don't know, you know, because of the long politics and gender idea that has evolved over a period of time. We still call filmmakers women filmmakers. We try to tag along. Whatever. That's not my question. My question is in regards to the author in you, ma'am. To the author in you. You've just talked about how there is this idea of authorship when it comes to making your own films and all of these sort. You sometimes get really influenced with your characters, don't you? Because I am a person who really gets influenced by cinema. സിനിമ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു വലിയൊരു ഡിസ്റ്റിങ്ഷൻ ഇല്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ഐ കാൺട്ട് റിയലി disassociate myself from the films that I watch. I get influenced, I get traveled along with the characters that I see for that matter. So how do you keep that professional relationship with your character? Because sometimes I read a novel or I watch a film, I get taken away. I'll be walking the streets just like the character. For example, like an Imtiaz Ali film I watch, I roam around the pahad like I am a crazy character. So how do you keep that? Because when you are a writer, you just don't know. And you just get too much associated with the characters. So how do you keep that professional relationship with the characters that you know, kind of have?
Don't keep professional relationship. I mean, filmmaking, it's when we are writing a film or when we are making, it's 24 hours you are thinking only of that. And I live with my DOP. So, you know, we are only talking about the film, only talking about the characters. But that is the privilege of being a filmmaker, to be so involved in what you do and to find a great amount or tremendous amount of joy doing it. I think that's a privilege. So it's then I will have a producer who will come and say something, will be like, oh, okay, now I have to think differently. I can't, you know, do everything in this. And then money will come. So then no choice.
Hi, question is to Ms. Kani Kusrati. All I imagine as Kani is of being a very unconventional individual. And from all your interviews that I've listened to. Sorry, I've not watched the movie though. So question is, so being a very, very unconventional person to cultivating the discipline that an actor or an artist requires. Can you just elaborate on that process?
Unconventional doesn't mean that you shouldn't be disciplined to begin with. I mean, you might be a rebel, you might be an arch and all, but they all have disciplines of their kind. That's why it's categorized like that, according to me. And for me, I'm not unconventional to be also. I mean, only if you compare from one to another, we all are different individuals. But we have a culture where there might be a majority behaves in a certain way for convenience sometimes, to enable respect and everything. But sometimes we poke into people's personal life, then that is not really required. I think we are all learning and growing as culturally together, and where we can accommodate individualities, separate it, and then also understand how to respect each other in a public space. So yeah, for me, it's not really, I'm not very unconventional, honestly, but it has nothing to do with discipline. Discipline is something that you can have in your life, no matter what individual you are, what politics you believe in, or how you behave or anything.
Can I just add to that? You know, this narrative, like being rebellious is something that is not disciplined, is it's very problematic narrative in my opinion. I think that, yeah, and even, you know, like when we were on strike in FTI, they were saying we are, you know, just useless people doing this kind of thing. But everybody was very disciplined. To do a strike, as we all know, it takes a lot of discipline, lot of rigor, a lot of hard work goes into it. So I think the two things actually are very nice when they are together. It works well for us also as directors when we get actors who have both in them.
One last question, I think.
My question is to Payal mainly. So this is a movie which is, as you said, I've seen the movie, so it is, I was thinking about the audience which you made this movie for, because it's got Malayalam, a lot of it in the film, and then there's other languages as well. So when you made this movie, did you make it for an Indian audience? Did you expect which Indian audience to actually see it? I mean, I'm a big fan of the movie, so I just wanted to ask that question. The second one was, just to clarify, and the other question I had was, where does parallel cinema, I don't know whether that's the right term, in India stand now? You know, the Shyam Benegals and the Gautam Ghosh, Mrinal Sen's, who are those people now? You are, of course, there, but who else is there? We hardly get to see any movies in Hindi of that genre. I don't know whether that's the right term. So that's my second question. First was about which audience you made it for.
You know, your second question is linked to your first question, because the parallel cinema, the more kind of things people are doing in Kerala actually. Like we see so much avant-garde filmmakers that in the film festivals and things where they're coming from here only. So I'm pandering to my audience and making a film in Malayalam because my films get shown more in festivals here than anywhere else. So I was hoping that actually the film, when it releases, people will go to see it in the cinema, just to do some advertising. 22nd November, please go see it. And I hope that audiences here accept our movie and that it can get a run like a regular film. That's my hope.
I'd like to add something to that in the sense that I think that in Kerala, this parallel cinema and mainstream is merging. And that's something that's really great. And I think that somewhere that's also happening in other parts of the country, where you look at filmmakers like Baranjit and you look at Nagraj Manjule, who started off as very, very small films and now are making the blockbuster films in their spaces. You look at Rima Das in Assam, the films are running in theaters. So I think that somewhere it is merging. And that's much better than it remaining parallel in some senses.
Are we done? Yeah. Okay. I just want to say one thing. When I see these three giggling together, sitting like this and giggling away, I remember that when I did Revati's film, Mitra, My Friend, it was exactly this kind of energy. Somehow when women get together, these giggles are so important. The whole feeling of being sort of very connected. So it's very nice to see you all, and congratulations and thank you so much for this. Thank you.